rosters.
It's probably what, 6-something, 180 pounds or whatever.
6 foot, 180, 185.
It's Harris. It's not Harris. It's
William? No.
Do they have their rosters on there?
John hasn't paid his internet bill, so we're not getting
You're not connected to my router. You want my router?
Well, I should get a look. We just want to know what the kid's name was.
Messiah Hampton,
Messiah.
That's
Hampton.
it.
Okay.
6'1", 180.
He ain't 6'1".
Messiah. Amade.
Hello.
Just Messiah Hampton.
What's going on?
Just ready to have our podcast.
Oh, okay. Call me back later.
All right, what's up?
You know who else is getting a little bit of attention over there, Paul, is the quarterback. Coach's son.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
they needed more
Cunningham.
information.
Okay, what year is he?
He's going to be a junior.
Emailed it to me. I have everything printed. I need to know if you can bring it to the Medicaid office on West Law Road tomorrow.
All right.
They got some
Yep.
kids
Just
back.
give me the address.
Monroe's got a lot back.
Thank you.
All right.
How about that one little running back they had last year?
He was a senior, thank God.
Oh.
Not that we have to worry about him this year.
Well, they're going down a class, right? They're going back down.
I think they lose some linemen, but it doesn't really matter.
Right. Still got quarterbacks.
Unless they must have there's some JVs up at the end. Around, yeah. Oh boy. They've got one lineman back. Two.
You know, they went, what did they go, 7-3?
Three.
They lost to East. They lost to Canandaigua. Lost to Brighton.
Okay, they went 7-3. They had 6 kids in either third, second, or first team All-State.
How many?
6.
Wow.
Either
The
third,
top three.
second, or first team
Wow.
All-State.
I-
6
I'd
kids.
endorse their,
Huh?
I would endorse their running back.
I don't think he was even one of them.
He was second team
Oh, was
All-State.
he?
Okay.
I forgot his name,
But
but I remember.
so he
seeing
was
it.
second team All State. Did he make first or second team All Greater Rochester?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's I wonder, like how many.
Well, the all-state is by class.
Oh,
So
by
you got
class.
double A,
Right, but who's like All State voted by James Johnson? Like is it by the press?
Sports writers, probably.
Sports writers, yeah. All right. We'll sit down and.
It's running. Oh, we got to do the where we walk in. Jesus Christ! Do you like that? Have you watched any episodes?
Yeah,
Do you like the when we walk into Ozzy?
not really.
You don't really like it?
Now, will this all be cut out if we're on it right now talking about
Yes.
kids? Are you sure? You're not
Yeah.
gonna cut it
You
out?
see the part I saved? Remember the time you got the doll? You sat with the doll.
Yeah.
I saved that one.
Is that on bloopers?
That's going to be
It's
Bloopers.
That's gonna-
100th episode. Bloopers.
You don't like the Ozzy crazy?
No,
the-
I'm not a fan of it. I don't know.
all aboard!
People are going like, watch out, don't fall.
I almost like where we're seated, and maybe you introduce the guests, and then they come down. And sit
That would
down.
be bad.
You know,
No guest.
whoever our guest.
But then it's harder for a person to get in.
Well, yeah, or we
Okay,
can.
all right, okay.
we
What do you
can-
want to do?
No, we get out.
We're out, Paul.
Get out.
So am I going to be in the middle or
Yeah,
on the
get in the
outside?
middle. Get in the middle.
Have I ever done a show with you, Paul? I don't think
Yeah,
I
we've
have.
done. We've done. Yeah, we did. We did do.
What about the first one that we ever did?
What are we even going to talk about today?
Anything you want to talk about?
Just whatever.
Section 5 football.
Round table? You're going to lead us into a round table?
Yes.
Yeah, we got all that stuff to talk about.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll cut that out. Let's go back.
Take two.
This is
Wait, turn your phones off, Paul.
All right.
We don't want anybody calling,
No
interrupting us.
chicks.
No chicks, right.
okay. check one. Good, good.
Sounds good. It's a little loud.
All right.
Turn that down.
This headphone.
Check.
How's that? Down?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, well, it's way too loud on my end.
Well,
Duck your head. Green. How's that?
Way too
How's that?
down.
Down?
Yep.
How's that?
More.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Paul?
yep, I hear you good, John.
Paul's red. Let's bring him down a little bit. How's that, Paul?
That's fine.
Okay. George,
good.
you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, so-so.
Well, then pick yourself.
Turn them up then.
I don't want it to be blasting.
You gotta
Well,
duck your head. Oh, green.
Sometimes,
How about that? How about
sometimes
that?
we
Better?
sound louder than it
Yeah.
comes out.
No, I know.
All right.
What comes across here
Here is
doesn't come across
Up there.
there.
Well, we want to make sure that the customers are
Satisfied
yes.
with our product? Mm-hmm. I mean, I got a lot of cutting to do on this part.
Well,
well.
got to do some editing.
Okay. Two, three. Good evening, everybody. This is John Merola from Keeping It Real, Section 5 Football. And this is our second season, episode 14. And overall, this will be our 67th episode of Keeping It Real, Section 5. And as I've said, we're just moving right along. So before I get to the guy in the middle, I got to come back to my partner, fresh off from Florida.
Well, thank you, John.
Paul Brigandi.
I'm glad to be back. Sometimes the weather doesn't always cooperate here when maybe I should have stayed a little bit longer. But had a great time in Florida, and I did get together with George down there, and we were strategizing, talking football, working hard, and looking forward to the rest of this upcoming preseason.
Yes. And our man in the middle. As everybody seen throughout the last little over a year now, we've been doing this. Section 5 coach Arondecoit. Plus, he's known for all his camps. Coach George Giordano. George, thanks for being here.
What an honor it is, John, to be back in Rochester talking football, Section 5 football.
Yes, and we do have some things to talk about, too.
We do. Let's throw some things out on the table and see what we can muster up here in the middle of April. Tomorrow we have to have our taxes put in before the government comes after
Right.
us. Hopefully everybody will have gotten that taken care of, John.
Mine's already in. I've already paid to Uncle Sam, and
Okay. All right.
that's all taken care
It
of.
was a good year.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so. Monza. So.
A famous coach once told me,
Uh-oh.
your health is your wealth. And that man's name was Tony Merola.
He said that? I never
He
heard
said
that.
it. Well, I
He
don't
was a
remember
very
that.
wise man. I remember him saying, too, once to win it all, you have to have it all.
That's one of his classic ones.
Just a great coach and a great man. Your dad, we had the honor of working with him at the University of Rochester. And, actually, he was at Olympia one year as a modified coach or JV coach.
Yep,
and
yep.
We had him in that capacity, but always a great leader. A Hall of Famer, of course, out of Cardinal Mooney, and I believe it was at Mount Morris.
Mount Morris before that.
Yeah,
And worked with Don Santini, again, who just recently passed within the last month or so, over and made that Fairport Juggernaut what it was.
Yes.
and speaking of passings, George, your old high school head football coach, Don Walzer, had recently passed away, and you may want to mention a little bit about Coach Walzer.
Yeah, I had the honor of playing football at Olympia High School under Don Walzer with a bunch of great guys. We were very, very close, and just as of probably 6 months ago, we were able to enjoy lunch with him, and he had announced that he was battling prostate cancer, and unfortunately lost that battle in February. He was at Olympia from 69 to 79 as the head coach, was an assistant coach, and then ended up having a bad skiing accident, which sidelined him.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up being the athletic director at Athena. So the Walzer family is going to have a service up here. So we've lost a couple of coaches over the last year, and I guess we're getting to the age, Paul, Johnny, where
Yep.
some of the guys that we broke in with, unfortunately, are getting up to an age, and
I remember
it's
back a long time ago, you get married, going to weddings, when we were younger, and now we got a little older, and now, unfortunately, it's a part of life. We're going to funerals.
Yeah.
And speaking of funerals, I recently attended one of a man that was a line coach for me. His mother passed away, Otis Palmer.
Oh.
And he coached 12 years our offensive line. But at that funeral, I had a opportunity to talk to Jason Muhammad, the principal of Monroe. And an interesting story talking about Messiah Hampton, the very highly recruited receiver in our area. So he tells me this funny story. He says he comes out and he sees Messiah Hampton on a cell phone, and they have a school sentry standing right next to Messiah Hampton.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason Muhammad comes out in the morning, and because kids are supposed to turn their phones in as they enter the building, and Jason Muhammad comes out and he looks. He says, "What are we changing rules? We have a coup going on here now. Kids are having phones." And one of the assistant coaches, who was a school sentry, says, "Coach, it's okay. It's okay." He goes, "It's Belichick on the phone."
Oh.
So Belichick was calling from University of North Carolina, talking to Messiah Hampton, obviously recruiting session, and they said, "Carry on, keep that call going." So
Nice.
certain exceptions, I guess.
Yes, there are.
Super Bowl champion gives your kid a call, you pick up the phone.
Exactly. Tonight's episode, we are going to talk is basically, last year we did it. I did have the round table. This is our round table talk. And this is where I've got some information. We all have gotten some information over the last couple of weeks about Section 5. And we're just going to, just let people know exactly what's going on around Section 5 this time of year. Any camps or anything maybe coming up in the near future that we can talk about. I also have the date and time of the Hall of Fame dinner.
Oh, great.
So I'm going to put that out. And also what I'm going to put an attachment at the end of our episode about the Hall of Fame dinner. So I might put that in the QR code so people can...
I think that people are interested where they can purchase tickets and how that setup will be.
Yep. So this is, like I said, this is going to be just a round table. We're just going to talk some Section 5 football, what's been going on, and, what kind of season we're looking at in front of us. Before I get into that, I have to go back and I have to mention our platform. Everybody, at the beginning of our episode and at the end of our episodes, as you can see in the bottom corner now, I have... you can tap on it to subscribe to our channel. First things first, everybody that has subscribed to our channel, I just got to say thank you very much. I appreciate it. We all appreciate it. It helps our channel grow. So I'd like to thank everybody that subscribed. If you have not subscribed yet, all you got to do is just hit that little subscribe button down on the bottom left-hand corner, and you're automatically in. You hit the subscribe, you hit the like. If you have any comments, please throw some comments. Always looking for that. And it just, like I said, it makes our channel grow, and it's all good. And it doesn't cost anything. So that's one thing I do like saying is, we always think, you can do something without having to dig in your pocket for it. So, you ready?
What do you want to start with?
We could start about the Hall of Fame dinner.
Go ahead.
Okay. The Hall of Fame dinner this year, I talked to Scott Barker, actually texting back and forth. And I asked him if he had any times yet or any dates on the Hall of Fame, and he said, yes. Okay. It'll be Thursday, June 19th
Okay.
at RIT and on the Conference Center, where it's always kind of been. Arrival time around 5:45. Dinner and everything will be starting around 6:15. And I do not have the inductees yet of this year's class of 2025. But as soon as I get that, I will definitely get it out. And I'll be mentioning this every week now just so people can put it in the back of their minds that, like we said right from our first show, Paul, this is a part that, we're giving information out to people, let people understand, what's going on.
Right, and it may not be this year's one, but in the future, we want to get that information how you can nominate someone for the Section 5 Football Hall of Fame, and what the protocol is for that.
When Scott was here, he said that you can go online now and do your nominations. Before, you used to write a letter, I think, and then you mailed it in and all that. Right now, everything's modernized. Everything is, and I've gone on it too. I've seen it, and once us old people get used to it, older people, it's pretty easy. It is pretty easy to do. So
yeah, and it's so important to nominate someone because we've heard over the years, why is so and so not in or whatever, and again, there's some bylaws, and when they make these decisions, as far as was the person ever nominated, so make sure you get those nominations in. That's
one of the big things I hear about these days about people that are not in. I talk to, and they're like, geez, I'm not in the Hall of Fame, and I did this and this and this, and I was like, somebody's got to nominate you. Your mom, your dad, your wife, your husband,
your
friend, anybody, your coach. Anybody can nominate you. Just get down the information when we're playing ball, and it just goes right into Scott and their committee.
One of the things I like about the Hall of Fame over the years was that I believe there were 4 categories. Of course, the players, and who did it on the field and when maybe on to college and played. The coaches was another category. And then there was the third category, I believe, was the officials.
Yes.
The officials were always represented. And then, of course, the contributors, the people that were maybe behind the scenes, but weren't behind the scenes. And it gave it a little bit more of a well-rounded feel that people were coming from all different parts of the community that were recognized by Section 5 football.
And that's how that's how things like that should be. There's so much behind the scenes stuff. When we were coaching, I mean, how many parents did we have involved as far as helping us during the season and everything? You know what I'm saying? There's so many behind the scenes, and those people need to get recognized too.
Try to run a football game without a chain gang.
Oh.
The guy that runs the concession stand or the ticket taker or, the person who welcomes the officials to the game and to make things go smoothly, your security and, all those folks that make it a happening. Let's not forget about in the old days, and I'm not sure if they do it too much anymore, but the band.
Yes.
They used to take the field, and parents would come to watch the kids at halftime, which made for a very festive event for everyone on a Saturday afternoon or Friday night.
Let's go back a quick second. I want to go to Coach Brigandi on this one.
Let me not forget the cheerleaders.
Oh, of course.
Right.
Yeah,
I
don't
want them getting.
There's some big squads, yes.
Yep.
Right.
Did you want to mention about a football game that you were coaching and you had the chain guys on the sideline, and then at halftime there were some.
We were playing. I was coaching Jefferson. And this was first year I was coaching. We played an away game. We were playing Niagara Catholic up in Buffalo. And to my surprise, we actually had a very good officiating crew. And during sometime late in the first quarter, the head referee stops the game. He says, I want that whole box removed, from the guy holding this to the whole chain gang. He removed them all. And, obviously I was, and basically they were signaling to the opposing team.
Yep,
They hear you call play, if it's run or pass, whatever's being sent in, and how they held the down marker, and they threw out the whole box.
That's crazy.
And speaking of chain crews, George, your dad was involved with chain crew for how many years was that with Grease Olympia?
Yeah, his crew was together for about 38 years at Olympia High School. And the one story that I have about that was I ended up at Eastridge for a couple of years, came over to Olympia, so I was on his sideline. And he let me have a couple of jabs about the way this game was going to end. He was a true blue Grease Olympia guy and didn't really care who was on the far sideline, including myself. And I don't know if he was signaling to anybody.
Right.
But they didn't need to do that. We were struggling as it was, but he had a lot of pride in that crew.
My other chain crew story happened also when I was at Jefferson, and we played some night games, and Joe Curtello was officiating the game, and it was not, we were not like what you had at Olympia with that same chain crew for 30-something years. We would pluck kids out of the bleachers to be our chain crew. And usually most of them were sometimes in middle school. We might have a young freshman or sophomore on the chain crew. And I remember Joe Curtello was officiating, says to me at halftime, he says, Coach, we need a chain crew. And I was getting upset. Where did those kids go? Where did they, what happened? What happened? And he says, well, he says, the one kid, he's in the ambulance there. He got jumped at halftime, and the other kids are with him right now or something. So we lost our chain crew at halftime once, and we had to recruit some more out of the stands.
Wow. The one chain, I got lots, but the one that's just absolute classic, I'm coaching at Aquinas Dietz with Dietz, and we're playing Elmira and down in Elmira, and the chain guy and Dietz got into it before the game. And they're both about the same height. So it was nose to nose.
3'12".
Exactly. So the guy would come down the sideline and Dietz would be looking over there. The guy would be coming this way and he'd run by and poke him with it.
Oh, jeez. You know what was, and when you think about it, and this is before the wireless headset, we had the cord. So you were dealing with chain crew, wires from your headset, and it was a spider tangled web.
Your dad was the master of getting that all hooked up for us for games. I mean, we've never have done it. I mean.
At that time, of course, he worked for the telephone company. And when we played at the University of Rochester, he had this long cord that he took from the press box all the way down and around to the other side. And it was, if we would have had to do that, John, we would have still
be doing it.
Going semi-4 side signals.
I can tell you many a time I would speak with Jerry Nacella. And I said, I can hear you. Can you hear me? And we went round and round with that until we made a connection.
Oh, there were times when we picked up the other team. When the headsets came out originally, the wireless, you'd be playing Rush Henrietta and you could hear the other coaches.
What frequency you're on.
Right. Or a plane would fly over and,
Nobody could hear
landing
anything.
in Rochester, New York. Please put your seatbelts on. And it was an adventure.
The absolute best headset story is you and I. We're playing Timon at Timon.
Right.
And if anybody's ever been at Bishop Timon, the visitor side bleachers goes maybe 4 high, 5 at the most.
Yes, it's like a baseball.
Yeah, it's like for team pitchers or something. Mm-hmm. So, G gives me the headset. He goes, all right, go up top. And so I go up those 4 or 5 steps. And I'm not even 10 feet away. Can you hear me? I didn't even have the headset on, remember? I go, can you hear me? And you turn around and you're like, oh, my God.
Yeah, we've been into some very strange places to play. With at Jefferson, and when we were at Olympia, we go to these strange out of town spots, and you just knew you were up against it right out of the gate. A kid, I say walk the field, and they're walking the field at Bishop Timon, and here comes a kid up to me and goes, "Coach, what do I do with this?" He found a huge snapping turtle right in a 50-yard line. I mean, it was just a lot of stories, and we don't want to bore the people with those stories, but a lot of stuff that we ended up laughing about 50 years later, So it's been a strange road at the best,
times.
Yeah, for sure. But, all good stuff.
Paul, got any information?
Well, yeah, I do. While I was away, I was working. And I have set up some interviews for the future here. And one of them that I spoke to last week will be Chris Taylor. He will be the new head football coach at Edison Tech.
Okay.
And Chris's brother played for me at Easthigh, Michael Taylor, who was a great football player. He was a state champion in the discus. So I had a nice talk with Chris. I think he will be very interested. He's looking forward to it. I think it's a great hire where they selected an Edison Tech kid to, and he played for Mike Nally, was on successful teams there, and I think that's a good hire there. Also, Jimmy DeBell. Jimmy DeBell's a former NFL official. He right now is working as a supervisor in the UFL. He works for Mike Pereira. So a lot of you that have watched the NFL games on Fox, where Mike Pereira is a rules interpreter. Jimmy works directly with Mike Pereira, but he was a former NFL official. He's got some great stories, of things that happened. I know he'll probably talk about the one with Ben Roethlisberger. So we look forward to having Jimmy. And Jimmy's father was the athletic director at Jefferson. He gave me my first head coaching opportunity. I'm 23 years old. So I go way back with Jimmy DeBell and his dad, and I think he'll be a good one. Also talked the past week, and we've talked briefly about the girls' flag football, and that's going on right now. And Webster Schrader is they were undefeated. Last when I talked to Ian Inslee, he's the head coach of Schrader, and we're going to have him and Chris Urban on. Chris is his assistant. And Chris was a former head coach at Webster Schrader on the boys, and was recently coaching at McQuaid. So you have Ian, who's a young guy, 23 years old, and he's the head coach and supported by Chris Urban. We'll get a little bit more insight on the girls' flag football there. The other ones that we will have is Dennis Greco and Brian Tarangio, both former East Rochester head football coaches. Dennis is very interesting because he, worked at Gananda, and actually when you talk about these combined programs, the ER Gananda was one of the first ones, and he can probably explain how they were able to get that through the combination. Dennis is a Hall of Fame coach. He actually coached with the arena team, the Rochester Raiders. And then later, most recently, he is the town judge for East Rochester.
Okay.
So I think he'll be a very interesting guest. And Brian Tarangio was an assistant for Dennis for a long time. Brian, and George would know this too, played for Joe Casamento at Henniger. And, we know Joe very well. And I think Brian can talk about his high school days with Joe Casamento, and Bobby Cthulhu was his high school coach in that area. And then Brian did real well. He took the East Rochester team to the state semifinals a couple of years ago, and now he's on the Fairport coaching staff. And last one talked to would be Wade Bianco. Wade, former head football coach at Arundecoit. He's presently the president of the National Football Foundation. And basically that they offer and provide a lot of scholarships to athletes, in our area. The National Football Foundation banquet is right now the biggest football banquet we have in Section 5. It was over 400 people at that. And the winner of the overall, National Football Foundation scholarship, the highest one, was the young man, the quarterback from East Rochester, Ben
Newman.
That was our player,
Yep.
player of the year, and he was also the National Football Foundation representative from Section 5.
Ben, I believe we were talking about he's going to Wagner, I believe, and he just very, very impressed us when he was with us. He was our Player of the Week. Actually, he was twice Player of the Week for us this past year.
And the other big award winner was another one of ours on Keeping It Real, was the Leon of
Lucas
Leon. And he was also a big scholarship awards winner from the National